always were a dreamer as a child. Every night I watch the stars hoping for a sign. My father said, come down to earth, my son. But in my heart I knew there's something more out there. So follow me, just follow me. Yeah, follow me to another world. So follow me, just follow me. Yeah, follow me to another world. To another world. To another world. Don't you wanna lose that ball and chain? Climb over the walls and see what lays beyond. You just gotta reach out and grab my hand. Together we can make it to a paradise. Follow me, just follow me. Yeah, follow me to another world. So follow me, just follow me. Yeah, follow me to another world. To another world. To another world. Yeah, follow me to another world. To another world.
Going blind, feel my vision turning gray and into fiction. Tell me, friend, do you know who I am? I've been dreaming but can't remember how this ends. I can feel it reflect in the clearest of eyes in you. I got you locked in just like a secret, telling nobody else how I'm feeling. I got you locked in just like a secret, telling nobody else how I'm feeling, else how I'm feeling. Else how I'm feeling, else how I'm feeling. but wouldn't stand letting you go. Hear me out, I know what we could be. In my dreams I can almost reach it through the dark. I can feel it reflect in the clearest of eyes, in you. I got you locked in just like a secret, telling nobody else how I'm feeling. I got you locked in just like a secret, telling nobody else how I'm feeling, else how I'm feeling. Else how I'm feeling, else how I'm feeling, else how I'm feeling. I got you locked in just like a secret. Else how I'm feeling, else how I'm feeling. I got you locked in just like a secret. Else how I'm feeling, else how I'm feeling, else how I'm feeling. I got you locked in just like a secret. Else how I'm feeling, else how I'm feeling. I got you locked in just like a secret.
I am on top of the world. I am on top of my life. And it is all 'cause of you, you, you. I am stronger than before. I'm not alone anymore. And it is all 'cause of love, 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 I am invincible now. I am unstoppable now. And it is all 'cause of you, you, you. I am stronger than before. I'm not alone anymore. And it is all 'cause of love, 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 love.
left, right, I stand by your side. Low, high, up, tight, now let's take a ride. Flashing a smile, cover it up, but there's no surprise. As long as my heart goes, I got the beat. I got the beat. I got the beat. I got the beat of the night. Down, left, right, I stand by your side. Low, high, up, tight, now let's take a ride. Flashing a smile, cover it up, but there's no surprise. As long as my heart goes, I got the beat. I got the beat. I got the beat. I got the beat of the night.
There's no use in looking back. Gotta laugh or gotta live. 'Cause I'm so over the past, and I'm living it fast. Underneath the strobe lights, ready for a crazy night. I can hear your heartbeat banging loud like a drum. Let me be your only one. Do you feel what I feel? I'm addicted to the sound. Turn it loud, just make it play. When the love is all around, dream away with the music. Flying higher than the stars, we'll be dancing till the dawn. The night is young, so I wish. So close your eyes and set it free. Underneath the strobe lights, ready for a crazy night. I can hear your heartbeat banging loud like a drum. Let me be your only one. Do you feel what I feel? I'm addicted to the sound. Turn it loud, just make it play. When the love is all around, dream away
In your eyes, I saw diamonds and skies. And I did all for you, 'cause you wanted me to. In your eyes, I saw diamonds and skies. And I did all for you, 'cause you wanted me to. I saw diamonds and skies. And I did all for you, 'cause you wanted me to. In your eyes, I saw diamonds and skies. And I did all for you, 'cause you wanted me to. whenever I'm around you, baby. You make me feel so alive.
In your heart, you still hope that he cares. You've been waiting up all night. Tell me, why do you think he's not there with you now? Been right there by your side. Look up outside, the world is waiting. Could all be yours, that's what I'm saying. Don't waste your love. He's not the one, cause he's playing with your heart. If only I could turn the hands of time, turn it back, back, just to see you smile. Here's your big mistake, you need to know. Just let him go. Just let him go. Oh, oh yeah. Just let him go. You put your head high, girl, this time is run, time is run. Now you gotta have some fun. Oh yeah, put your head high, it is time to get up. You just gotta let him go. Just let him go. Ooh, yeah. If only I could turn the hands of time, turn it back, back, just to see you smile. Here's your big mistake, you need to know. Just let him go. Just let him go. Just let him put your head high, girl, this time is run out. Now you gotta have some fun. So come on, put your head high, it is time to get up. You just gotta let him go. Just let him go.
Do you care about the problems? Cause you never seem to focus on me now. Do you care about the problems? Can you get inside the corners of my mind? We can only get there if we try. Wanna believe in that we can find every longing piece of mind to give in, to give in, to give in. I think about us, love. I think about us, love. I'm thinking about losing seconds of our time. Are you in or out? Just tell me. I think about us, love. I think about us, love. I'm thinking about losing seconds of our time. Are you in or out? Just tell me now. I can tell where this is heading. We're diving with our head first in too deep. Can you see where this is heading? Who's gonna go first and take the leap? We can only get there if we try. Wanna believe in that we can find every longing piece of mind to give in, to give in, to give in. I think about us, love. I think about us, love. I'm thinking about losing seconds of our time. Are you in or out? Just tell me. I think about us, love. I think about us, love. I'm thinking about losing seconds of our time. Are you in or out? Just tell me now. Do you care about the problems? Cause you never seem to focus on me now. Do you care about the problems? Can you get inside the corners of my mind? I think about us, love.
fast ride next to this black fire. It's just you and I now. Just make me move right. Don't stop for nothing till you're in my bloodstream. Chemicals get 'em moving. I can feel your blood. Keep it flowing, make it one more time, and then I do it again. Let you in under my skin, skin. Hey, let you in under my skin. Oh, oh. Let you in under my
Always were a dreamer as a child. Every night I watch the stars, hoping for a sign. My father said, come down to earth, my son. But in my heart I knew there's something more out there. So follow me, just follow me. Yeah, follow me to another world. So follow me, just follow me. Yeah, follow me to another world. To another world. To another world. Don't you wanna lose that ball and chain? Climb over the walls and see what lays beyond. You just gotta reach out and grab my hand. Together we can make it to a paradise. Follow me, just follow me. Yeah, follow me to another world. So follow me, just follow me. Yeah, follow me to another world. To another world. To another world. Gotta follow me to another world. To another world.
Going blind, feel my vision turning gray and into fiction. Tell me, friend, do you know who I am? I've been dreaming but can't remember how this ends. I can feel it reflect in the clearest of eyes in you. I got you locked in just like a secret, telling nobody else how I'm feeling. I got you locked in just like a secret, telling nobody else how I'm feeling, else how I'm feeling. Else how I'm feeling, else how I'm but wouldn't stand letting you go. Hear me out, I know what we could be. In my dreams I can almost reach it through the dark. I can feel it reflect in the clearest of eyes, in you. I got you locked in just like a secret, telling nobody else how I'm feeling. I got you locked in just like a secret, telling nobody else how I'm feeling, else how I'm feeling. Else how I'm feeling, else how I'm feeling.
about you, just wanna find out. Come on, let's take that climb. Fall in love, we can fall in love, we can fall in love again, again. We can fall in love, we can fall in love, we can fall in love again, again. Maybe it's our destiny. Destiny. Maybe it's our destiny. Maybe it's our destiny. Destiny. Maybe it's our destiny.
Up, down, left, right, I stand by your side. Low, high, up, tight, now let's take a ride. Flashing a smile, cover it up, but there's no surprise. As long as my heart goes, I got the beat. I got the beat. I got the beat. I got the beat of the night. Up, down, left, right, I stand by your side. Low, high, up, tight, now let's take a ride. Flashing a smile, cover it up, but there's no surprise. As long as my heart goes, I got the beat. I got the beat. I got the beat. I got the beat of the night.
use in looking back. Gotta laugh or gotta live, 'cause I'm so over the past, and I'm living it fast. Underneath 'cause you're riding steady free. Underneath the strobe lights, ready for a crazy night. I can hear your heartbeat banging loud like a drum. Let me be your only one. Do you feel what I see? I'm addicted to the sound. Turn it loud, just make it play. When the love is all around, away.
and skies. And I did all for you, 'cause you wanted me to. In your eyes I saw diamonds and skies. And I did all for you, 'cause you wanted me to. I saw diamonds and skies. And I did all for you, 'cause you wanted me to. In your eyes I saw diamonds and skies. And I did all for you, 'cause you wanted me to.
get that fire burning up inside it, never running out of love when you get
got me feeling, you got me feeling alright. Whenever I'm around you, baby, you make me feel so alive.
trying so hard, giving all that you got, holding on hard to the past. Don't forget who you are, is it worth it or not? It will never ever last. Oh, look up outside, the world is waiting. Could all be yours, is what I'm saying. Don't waste your life, he's not the one, cause he's playing with your heart. If only I could turn the hands of time, turn it back, just to see you smile. Here's your big mistake, you need to know, just let him go. Just let him go. Just let him go. Ooh. Deep inside in your heart, you still hope that he cares. You've been waiting up all night. And tell me, why do you think he's not there with you now? Been right there by your side. Look up outside, the world is waiting. Could all be yours, that's what I'm saying. Don't waste your life, he's not the one, cause he's playing with your heart. If only I could turn the hands of time, turn it back, just to see you smile. Here's your big mistake, you need to know, just let him go. Just let him go. Oh, oh yeah. Just let him go. You put your head high, girl, this time is what I'll be running. Now you gotta have some fun. Oh yeah. So come on, put your head high, it is time to get up. You just gotta let him go. Just let him go. Ooh, yeah. If only I could turn the hands of time, turn it back, just to see you smile. Here's your big mistake, you need to know, just let him go. Just let him go. Just let him go. Put your head high, girl, this time is run out. Now you gotta have some fun. So come on, put your head high, it is time to get up. You just gotta let him go. Just let him go.
Do you care about the problems? 'Cause you never seem to focus on me now. Do you care about the problems? Can you get inside the corners of my mind? We can only get there if we try. Wanna believe in that we can find every longing piece of mind to give in, to give in, to give in. I think about us, love. I think about us, love. I'm thinking of losing seconds of our time. Are you in or out? Just tell me. I think about us, love. I think about us, love. I'm thinking of losing seconds of our time. Are you in or out? Just tell me now. I can tell where this is heading. We're diving with our head first in too deep. Can you see where this is heading? Who's gonna go first and take the leap? We can only get there if we try. Wanna believe in that we can find problems. 'Cause you never seem to focus on me now. Do you care about the problems? Can you get inside the corners of my mind? I think about us, love. I think about us, love. I'm thinking about losing seconds over time. Are you in a rush? Just tell me now. I think about us, love. I think about us, love. I'm thinking about losing seconds over time. Are you in
take it fast right next to this black fire. It's just you and I now. Just make me move right, don't stop for nothing till you're in my bloodstream. Chemicals, get 'em moving, I can feel your blood. Keep it flowing, make it one more time, and then I do it again. Let you in under my skin, skin. Hey, let you in under my skin. Oh, oh. Let you in under my skin. I let you in under my skin. Oh, oh. Hey. We can do this faster, wrap it up skin tight. Blessing or sin, right? Come a little closer, wanna feel you harder. Gotta take it further. Oh, chemicals, get it moving. We got juxtaposed body fluids and the black fire burns, and then we do it again, again, again. Chemicals, keep moving, I can feel your blood. Keep flowing, do it one more time, and then we do it again. Let you in under my skin, skin. Hey, let you in under my skin. Oh, oh. Let you in under my